you streaming or?
Hello. So I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get Arya in here. Let's just see if this thing works. Okay. So it looks like we have to be side by side on this, so we'll let Arya do it directly. So let me put a link into the other chat, and we'll be able to get going on this. Sorry for the inconvenience, everyone. We're still learning.
All right, Steve, what am I doing? Did I break it? Maybe.
Can you hear?
I can hear you. Can you hear and or see me? Like, is this?
I can hear and see you. Yes. Let me just share this link so that Stephen can direct everybody in the other chat into this one.
Gotcha. Oh, I didn't realize you made a new link. Okay, so I'm guessing I should probably update the link in Reddit then as well.
Of course, thank for this. Okay. Stephen, just navigate to it through the thing directly. Okay, so I'm unfortunately just going to be a black screen on the side. Hey, Patrick. I can see.
Hey, Tim, did you post a new link in like Discord or anything else?
We're just getting the new link right now since we just started the stream. We didn't have the link before. Steven's trying to get the link and then send it to people. Actually,
Gotcha.
Yeah, I unfortunately, for whatever reason, it isn't letting me copy the link from here directly. I've tried and it just doesn't work. I don't know why. It says
Gotcha.
copy.
I mean, I certainly don't know. So, because I don't have any skills at any of this kind of stuff. Is it the same link that you sent me in Facebook?
No, it's a different one.
Got it.
Okay. Let's see if that will work. Okay, Steven's pasting it now in the other chat, and we'll see. I wish this was a little more convenient, but we play the cards we've been dealt. And I can just put some background on here so people can see some rules.
All right, and then give me a second. I'm going to post the new link in Reddit as well because I shared it in there.
Yeah, and we'll put it in chat so that people in the other one are able to see it.
Okay.
I just put it on Discord. Great. So we just
Two
put it on
seconds.
Discord. Perfect. So hopefully everybody will be able to see and not be too distracted by the half taken up by our stuff.
I mean, it is fun stuff. So
yeah. Yep. There we go.
All right, and then let me post this in the other Discord as well.
Next time we'll probably have this figured out better, but you know, this is our first time using YouTube for streaming, and apparently there are some tricks. In the meantime, would you look at this? Got some fun. Yep, these are Yag boules. These are some of the kind of fun ones that we've got. Going to have to see about whether I else fun while we're waiting for the stuff to be fully set up.
We can show off our experimental
crystals. Yeah, why don't we show off our experimental crystals right now? Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Oh, is this the one that you guys showed me earlier?
Yeah, we actually have three of them that we got grown on our own, which we haven't showed off yet before to the general public. So why don't we show those off while we're waiting, so people get a double dose of experimental crystals.
Sounds awesome.
Meantime, I've got this fun little witch hat of Yag. That one also has a glow. So
is that cerium and neodymium?
Yeah, we've got a bunch of cerium neodymium here. I kind of picked out all the most fun-looking ones and brought them up and put them on my table so I could look at them.
Oh,
So
do you have the one that you guys just showed me, the pink and gray one, the neodymium one that
that
has
was
like effect?
okay. So preemptively, I'm going to show you guys our experimental crystals. Let me bring this guy down here. First, we have this guy who this is not actually YAG. This is YBAG, ytterbium aluminum garnet. So you see, it's got that nice ytterbium blue at the top, and then it gets progressively. This is a color that, as a seller, you're not allowed to say the name of. We refer to it euphemistically, like coffee or chocolate, whiskey, caramel. Yeah, it's pretty dark. We don't say the B word, is what I'm saying. Yeah, it's not quite black, but it's going to be interesting. We'll have to see. Apparently, when they anneal YB, it tends to go clear. So maybe we'll get something interesting if we try annealing it. Next one is kind of fun. This guy is plain old cerium YAG. We just decided to grow our own so we know what 5% was like. So you can see there's a bit of a color gradient up and down it. I'm not sure why. I think it's something about annealing. It's also got this weird green dark tip on it. So we're going to be doing some science with these guys just to see what happens with them. But you can see it's got like more brown over here, and there's this point right here that's most yellow and has the strongest fluorescence. So definitely something interesting about it. We're just going to have to figure out what.
Hey Tim,
Yep.
for that end piece where it transitions from gold to green,
Yeah.
you should like. Have you seen the bicolor sapphires that people are doing, where like one color, like the darker color, is oriented in the culet, and then the rest of it's in the crown, and it shows off like both colors?
That would be fun.
Yeah.
You should like preserve the end of it. Don't anneal like keep it at all. Just like keep it as is, and send it to like Eric or someone or Phil, and have them do it like that.
We're definitely going to be keeping samples of all these guys.
Arya, I can cut big stones too. Thank you very much. Not well, but I can do it.
I forgot you guys are cutting now. That's so awesome. Like,
But
it was gonna be great.
And finally, we've got the guy who actually turned out real nice.
Yeah.
This is Urag. See if we can put some light on it. This is erbium aluminum garnet. It is 70% erbium and 30% yttrium. So it's mostly Urag, or I think some people call it egg, actually.
Yes. Well, it turns out that this one they actually did anneal a section for us, which we don't have here, but it turns pure pink when you anneal it. But it's very orange,
Yeah.
with a hint of B word to it.
Yeah. So overall, that's our little experimental warm up.
And I think we've got people in chat now. It looks like everybody's moved over, so we're ready for the main event. I think.
I'll just put this guy up here to try not to distract people with moving it while your Arya stuff is going.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
I'm so excited. You guys have no idea. I have not lifted this box. I have not touched this box. I have not looked at this box. I got no information on total weights. I got no information on total sizes. I got no information on color. Theoretically, when people grow crystal from you, they're supposed to send like a Lowe diagram so you know it's an actual crystal and not a glass. I got none of that.
So 4 Bs as far as you know.
So I have absolutely no fucking clue what is going on with these pieces. They are not annealed. I see Patrick's asking a question. Are they annealed? They are specifically not annealed. So I asked for these to be grown in a pure argon atmosphere because that's not quite oxidizing. It's not quite reducing. Because you can always take the material that's grown from that and you can then cook the shit out of it in oxygen or in hydrogen. And then it'll show you both ends of the extreme, but at least that way you also have the middle, and it gives you. So we'll see what happens. Also, before I forget, Steve and Tim, for the ERAG that you guys grew, and after you nailed it, it turned pink. Did it have a color change?
Yes.
Like, so it did the like standard like pink to orangey gold color.
Yeah. We can show that.
Yeah, because that would be awesome. All right, well, let me figure out where exactly I'm going to put this phone so that it won't fall or do anything. All right, let's see if this works. All right, so and then I've got my bookshelf of like giant gems back there as well.
Yes.
Oh, I have box. Box unopened. It's like very aggressively and angrily taped with fragile and all that kind of stuff. So let's see what's in it. And then if anybody has questions, Steve and Tim, because obviously I'm trying not to stab myself, just like read them out loud from chat if anybody asks anything.
Yeah.
All right. You know, it's awesome that like they were willing to do these and willing to do it with like the level of
run through what you expect before you see the results.
Oh yeah. So in that case, I'll hold off on completely opening this. So 3 things. We grew 3 things. The first is cobalt doped sapphire. And that's like the closest to number 78, like vermilion sapphire. Should be an emerald green color. I actually pulled up, there's a paper from, I think, Gems of Gemology, and there's another one from Journal of Gemology that look at like the new Paraiba colored sapphires, and they were like, oh, okay, it has 200 parts per million of cobalt. So I was like, hey, just grow this stuff with 200 ppm of cobalt, and hopefully it'll be that color. So we kind of like just used that as our starting ground. So it should be somewhere between an emerald green and a cobalt blue. I just have no idea where along that like trend it's going to be. The second one is manganese, and there's like no information about this anywhere. So I like to pull a bunch of like random papers, like papers from the 60s, and just kind of looked at what they did, and all their data is kind of shitty. So I sent the growers an email. I was like, hey, I have these papers. The data's shitty. Like, pick a number. So they picked a number for me. I don't remember what it was, but we'll see what happens. Manganese 2+ should be extremely pale. Manganese 3+ should be much more vibrant. So hopefully this is going to be vibrant. Theoretically, it's all manganese 3+, and I did it strong enough concentration. It should be a strong, very dichroic adbradsha with kind of like a very like pinky pink, and then a very peachy other axis to it. But you know, who the fuck knows? And then since it's grown in argon, like some of it should be a little bit of like 2+, and some of it should be part of 3+. So it'll be some mix of who knows, like no fucking clue. And then the one that I'm most excited because it's never actually been described, and I checked. I even like talked Russians. Nobody has ever actually grown copper doped sapphire that's an actual crystal. There's one paper from 1963 where they thought that they had copper in their sapphire, but really all of it evaporated out, and it was just iron and magnesium. If you look at the little like absorption curve graph, it matches iron and magnesium perfectly and does not match anything that you would expect for copper. And there's another paper from last year by some crazy Russian guys, but instead of growing actual crystals, they grew like nanocrystals and powder and stuff. So the copper from that isn't necessarily going to match, and they didn't provide anyway. So I think now it's time to stick my hand in the box and see what shows up. Yeah.
Let's go.
Excellent. All right. So box is open. Box is mostly open. Box is full of packages, apparently. All right. Okay. So it's also unexpected light. That's not the greatest sign in the world. We'll jiggle it. We'll heft it. There's some kind of warning or invoice. Okay. Well, there's an invoice. What does it say in here? I don't even remember. Okay. So it has the concentrations in here. So cobalt, 250 parts per million. Manganese, 500 parts per million. Copper, 800 parts per million. I can't remember why we picked these amounts. Sounds kind of high. Okay. Anything else in this box? No? Okay, great. It's like the biggest concern is like, did I fuck this up? Like the last sapphires that I grew that didn't contain any of what we're supposed to and had a bunch of something else. All right, let's give it a whirl. Let's find out. Fingers crossed. All right. Well, so these are very aggressively wrapped, which I guess is kind of nice. I mean, clearly they enough. All right. Oh, it's in a fancy box. All right. Let's take a look. Get this box open. All right. Huh. Okay. So they did include a sheet of paper that has information about what color it turned out. So I'm not going to read it.
Yeah.
There's actually, this is very interesting. There's an expected result that is interesting in a bad way. So let's, I'll preface that like that, and I'll you guys will see what I mean. All right, so let's take a look. All right, so box with labels on it. The label, the concentration, what specific dope it was, and the color it ended up with. Okay, so very nice box, some foam and some like. All right, what is it? Oh, if it's 800%. Okay, I kind of want to read some of these messages before I open. All right, so like, what were you hoping for before? Okay, so we talked about what I was hoping for before. What was the plan? Talked about the plan. Too bad. Oh yeah, this is all vertical floating zone, so it's very expensive. But using this data, we should be able to grow stuff by Chokralski, which should be much more affordable. Patrick is saying if 800 ppm copper, then 1,000. Oh, that's sarcastic. All right, the copper one. So copper, it would probably not be green brown. The issue with copper is that it's kind of like titanium. Like when you put titanium in sapphire, it's usually just colorless, like totally colorless, doesn't do anything. If you pair, because it's 4+, so when titanium's 4+, there's no electrons that can do anything fun for color. If you add iron, then it does that like charge pairing thing and it produces a really strong blue color. But when we have just like titanium by itself, 4+, colorless, if we heat treat it in like really, really reducing environment, it converts to titanium 3+, which then has an electron that does some weird shit. And so that is why like 4+ titanium is totally clear, but 3+ titanium is that strong pad color. With copper, we expect the exact same thing. Depending on the charge state of copper, some of it we expect to be totally colorless. Some of it, I guess we expect it to be somewhere vaguely Padparadscha-ish, not 100% sure, or not Padparadscha, Paraiba-ish, like teal blue. Some of it we'd expect to be like almost a chrome pyrope red, depending on the context. So, all right, let's find out. Okay, this is just more foam. Okay, this is just even more foam. All right. Okay, so some more foam. All right, this is what's in here. Broken bits of stuff. Okay, well, I guess there's some broken bits of stuff that don't have a label on them. Not 100% sure what these are. So I'll just put them on the desk for now. All right. Oh,
Looks like pizza.
Okay. All right. So this is very small. And it's very clearly like pink and orange. I don't know if the color is showing up on here. So this, I'm almost guaranteed to be the manganese stuff. Not really enough to cut into a stone, but there should be enough in here to do some science on. And okay, let's see what else is in this box. Oh, another one. Okay, so this is also kind of pinkish orange, covered in fluff. All right, it is definitely pink in one direction, definitely orangish in the other direction. So I'm guessing this is also going to be the manganese stuff. Okay, what is next up in here? Oh, that is nice. Very like explodey, but all right. So totally not usable. Very clearly cobalt, covered in spikes. I'm not entirely sure what I would do with this.
It's a very angry sapphire.
That is some very angry sapphire. All right. So here's some more cobalt. Very angry. Doesn't like not really usable at all. I might have to send these guys an email and be like, hey, like this is not what I need. All right. And then let's see. Oh, there's more stuff in here. I have a feeling this is going to be copper. Not entirely sure. This is also very strange. Ow, shit. Well, there's some sharp stuff in here. That's helpful.
I guess the angry sapphire took offense.
The angry sapphire took a. This is a very angry sap. It's like a little paddle almost.
Oh, wow.
Like, I'm not sure what the yellow coloring is. Like, nothing on any of these documents says that there should be a yellow colored anything. I mean, I have no idea what this is. I guess also copper? Regardless, I'm gonna send these guys a message and be like, yo, like the contract was for crystal, not for like unusable stuff that I cannot measure. Yeah, Dylan, copper 3 might be yellow, but it's not entirely like clear as to whether that's real or not. The paper from 1963 says that it should be a yellow color, but if you look at that graph, the graph itself actually matches that for like the trapped hole with iron 3. So the question is whether or not those people actually grew copper doped sapphire, or if it was just iron and manganese, iron and magnesium contaminated. So who knows? I think this stuff is still worthwhile to like send off for testing. Like, did actual crystals get grown? Did like anything happen? I mean, the color wise, it's very clear that like these are in fact what they're supposed to be. At least for the manganese, like this makes a lot of sense. Like, and I think I'll probably need a shit ton more manganese if these are going to be any kind of like commercially viable thing to grow by Czochralski. Same probably applies for cobalt. Like, yeah, we know from the flame fusion stuff that it should be somewhere in like the 200 ppm range. And I almost wonder if these crystals are cobalt like pulling itself out. Kind of like exsolving from the solution. So, oh dear. Somebody did just ask me if my fly is down, and I have no idea, and I don't feel like checking right now. I certainly hope it's not. But let's see what else people are saying, because this is a little bit of an oddball result. Not what I was expecting, and in a way I was not expecting. When crystal growers tell you, hey, we've grown actual like crystals that are going to be used for your optics experiments, you expect that they'll be transparent and like single crystal, but these are covered in sharp, painful frustrations. So, all right, I'm just reading through some of these comments and things. All right, yeah, so kind of reviewing. So these are probably copper. I will send these off for heat treatment just to see what happens if we reduce the shit out of it. See if we do get the color that we want. These are manganese. There's large enough transparent sections in here to where these could be sent off to the lab. We will run some chemistry on it. We will get some spectra on it and then find out what the target concentration should be. And then, we'll contract with a Czochralski grower instead. Or a university or somebody who will actually do these properly. And then these guys, so as expected, cobalt, yeah, there's some transparent stuff in here, but this is clearly not the expected or like desired result. So I'll send these guys an email and we'll see what they end up saying. Somehow, given that it took them 10 months to grow anything and they were difficult to communicate with, I can't imagine it's going to go anywhere. But yeah. Okay. Is there a clear seed? So normally when you grow stuff with vertical floating zone, you take all of your material, you like compress it into a transparent ceramic or like a white ceramic, and then you run it through your floating zone process. I'm not entirely sure that's what they did here. This little like seed crystal is very different than what I would expect. Floating zone very classically produces a very, very cylindrical, like 15 millimeter boule that's very consistent. So something's a little bit off about these. Steve or Tim is saying that they want to photograph these under a microscope. Yes, I agree, because this would be very interesting. Becca, there's a very interesting paddle thing. Do all of these have different dopants? Yep, we kind of talked about those. Sheets of crystals. So Maudius is saying something about sheets of crystals. Usually with, so there's two different kinds of floating zone. There's vertical floating zone, which produces a cylinder. And there's horizontal floating zone or Bagdasarov, which produces like a flat sheet. Or it's technically called a boat for some reason. But yeah, so this is a vertical floating zone. Yeah, under the microscope would be interesting. The padparacha, sure. So, I'm not really sure that it's coming across very well or very like colorful. It's much more colorful in person. You can kind of see at the end, like at the cap end, there's crystals of like super tiny crystals of what looks like manganese oxide, kind of the little like orange, rough, fuzzy color. Okay, what makes it furry versus crystal? Oh, some of the fur stuff is just the cotton that that's like out there. If you're talking about fur being like, why does it have a bunch of these like super small, fine druzy like crystals? I have no idea. It's probably that when this stuff is molten, the dopants that you add typically try to evaporate out of the solution, and that might be like spreading crystals along with it. Really don't know. The best cocktail swizzle sticks, yes. Their printed description does in fact match what I see. Like, yes, colorless, light red, light blue. And yeah, this certainly explains why they didn't tell me what it looks like. But you know, I'll get in contact with them and see what they say. And regardless, I'll still send this off to the lab and see if they can like get any kind of useful data out of it. I think the manganese one they probably can, but it's going to be yeah, light red is definitely generous. It's like a fairly oh, you know what? Let me see if I can do this. All right, something white. Okay, let's see if I can turn the camera around. All right, so that's a little bit of a better picture of the color. All right. Yeah, definitely cool, definitely disappointing. Such as crystal growth. You know, it is what it is. But I think at least the manganese ones, there's definitely enough to like the white one. Not entirely sure what's going on there. Any fluorescence for the manganese? You know, I don't know, and I don't think I have my black lights here. And let's see if I can get the pink chromism to show up on. I can't. So these manganese ones almost look like what's it called? They almost look like number 90, which was the last experiments that Java did before they went bankrupt. And manganese you would expect to evaporate from the melt, and number 90 does have a very prominent rind. So I wonder if that's what they did. The cobalt being that blue is a little bit odd because from like the thermodynamics of the cobalt system in sapphire, it needs very strongly reducing conditions to get it to be that 2+ blue color. But you know, who knows? We will send these off to the lab. We'll send some confused emails to these guys. Yeah, so the blue is definitely more from the these like we like crystals than anything else. There's a little bit of it in the actual crystal, but I think this probably is a problem of stuff coming out of solution. Um, yeah, I think probably the best route from here is going to be send these guys an email, be like, "Hey, this is not what I needed, not what I like agreed on. Please run these again and like produce an actual transparent crystal from which I can actually get the plates that I requested." Um, and if they say no or anything else like that, then I'll deal with it as it comes, and then we'll get in touch with some universities and some other folks and see if I can fly over and find them. Love it. Yes. So Patrick, these the ultimately the study is going to be more kind of longitudinal. So with this data, like what was supposed to be from this would be like concentration data and spectra, so that we can get an estimated idea of how much of this dopant gives you what kind of color. Just like there's a good paper from like 2021 or 2022 by John Emmett, Jennifer Stone Sundberg, and I always forget Emily's last name. But they basically did this same study, but they looked at all of the dopants in natural sapphire and they published it. So the final published study of this is going to be the equivalent, but for copper, manganese, uh, cobalt, and nickel. Just need some successful crystal growth first. And then Madi's saying high pressure during the melt and cooling. So yes, the problem, as you can imagine, with high pressure crystal growth is that the equipment and the setup that you need for it is a lot more expensive and a lot more like dangerous and challenging to use. I believe McMaster University has a setup for it, and since they're an hour away from me here in Toronto, I might reach out to them first. But yeah, so with any science experiments, failure also gives you some information. So it's very, very clear that manganese does in fact give you this like very bright, like vivid, pinky, peachy padrasha color. So even just like from an economical perspective, it would be worthwhile to grow this shit. The copper one, a little bit confusing. I think we send this off to the lab and heat treat the shit out of it. It might do something, but we'll see what happens from that standpoint. And then cobalt, kind of expected one thing, got something along the lines of the color we expected, somewhere between that green and blue color. Not really any new information. This was supposed to be like a higher purity, like this gives us some answers type thing, but nope. So we'll see what to do from here. And then next time around, hopefully we'll have a more fun unboxing. Steve, Tim, any thoughts?
No, thanks for coming on. I'm definitely interested in seeing what happens next in terms of experiments.
I guess most of all, we got to thank you for taking this on, because this is an incredible undertaking, and obviously no small expense for you either.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. It's like, as you know, it's very fun for me on my end. Two failures out of two, not a great start, but we'll see what happens.
Well, eventually you'll have tried everything, and something will have to work.
Exactly. All right. Well, I'm gonna go because it's.
I have to say, I really like those cotton candy colors.
Oh yeah, the cotton candy colors are great. And you know what? Since I am here in my room with my like box of rarities, I'm just gonna like point something out really quickly. All right. So
remember, if you want to support Arya, use coupon code all caps Angry Sapphire to get 15% off No Vault. It's Arya's first failed experiment, and all proceeds go to Arya.
Excellent. So I'm not sure if anybody can see this giant block. This is a very unusual synthetic. This is synthetic calcite.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's huge. It's heavy. It's very, very birefringent. Like you can double like text behind it. This, okay. This is a 2.5 kilo boule of langasite that I got from an ex-Soviet crystal grower a couple of years ago. I think Steve and Tim actually pointed me towards it. Oh God, why is it? And then yeah, there it is. The kind of crowning achievement of my like weird synth. All right, the world's largest cubic zirconia, still the world's largest cubic zirconia. This is a little over 5 kilos. It's very large. If you look at it from this end, you can see it is a single crystal. It's not a skull of fused columns, but it's very heavy. Okay, I'm gonna put it down. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. This was fun, and we'll do it the next time I have any kind of science results.
Meantime, let me show you if I can. There's a weird little pattern on this guy. Can you see the triangle in the fluorescence in the middle?
Oh, yeah. It's like right in the middle of that core. You can kind of see a little triangle that's a little bit different.
Yep. So who knows? Some weird stuff might show up on fluorescence. We'll have to see.
Excellent.
Meantime, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate seeing these experiments.
All right. Thanks again, guys, and I will see you next time around.
Yep. Oh, bye.
If I can figure out how to close out.
Yeah, let's see if I can. There we go. And goodbye, everyone. Have a great evening. I can figure out how to close. There we go. End stream.